Episode 1. The Foundations of Kemetic Spirituality. What if I told you that long before Christianity arrived, Africa had its own profound spiritual system, one that was deeply connected to the cosmos, the earth, and even our everyday lives? This system, shaped by the ancient Egyptians, provided guidance that was ahead of its time and rooted in balance, order, and justice. In this episode, we're going to explore the heart of Kemetic spirituality, which is often overlooked or misunderstood. We'll dive into its core principles, starting with the goddess Maat, whose presence governed not only the spiritual realm, but every aspect of life in ancient Egypt. This isn't just ancient history, it's part of the wisdom we can reclaim and apply in our own lives today. Introduction to Kemetic spirituality. Before we jump into the specifics, let's take a moment to understand what Kemetic spirituality is all about. In ancient Egypt, spirituality was inseparable from daily life. It wasn't something confined to temples or specific rituals. It was woven into every part of their existence, from governance to community, to how they interacted with the natural world. They believed that the gods were always present in the world around them, actively involved in the balance of life. At the core of this spiritual system was Maat. Maat wasn't just a concept, it was the embodiment of truth, justice, balance, and cosmic order. Maat was both the force that maintained the harmony of the universe and the goddess who personified it. Without Maat, chaos would reign and the world would be out of balance. It was her feather that would be used to weigh the hearts of the dead, determining their worthiness for the afterlife. Maat wasn't just something the gods maintained, it was something that people lived by. The Egyptians believed that to live according to Maat was to live justly, harmoniously, and with integrity. It was how they measured everything, from their laws to their personal conduct. Maat and its role in society. Maat wasn't just a spiritual ideal, it was the backbone of Egyptian society. The pharaohs, believed to be divine representatives of the gods on earth, were responsible for upholding Maat. They were not just military leaders, but spiritual leaders who ruled to ensure that Maat prevailed over their kingdom. Their role was to keep everything in balance, the land, the people, and even the natural world. But it wasn't just about the pharaohs. Maat was something every individual had a role in maintaining. If an individual lived in alignment with Maat, they helped preserve order, truth, and justice. If they strayed from this path, they were seen as contributing to chaos, which threatened the well-being of society. The concept of Maat extended into personal morality too. The ancient Egyptians understood that living in accordance with Maat meant more than following rules. It meant cultivating a deep sense of personal responsibility for one's actions. It was about understanding how one's actions could ripple out into the world, affecting not only themselves but also others. The pantheon of gods and goddesses. The gods and goddesses of Egypt played a crucial role in maintaining Maat. These deities were not distant, otherworldly figures. They were seen as active participants in every aspect of life, from the creation of the world to the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Each god had a role that was intertwined with Maat, ensuring the continued order of the universe. Ra, the sun god, was the most significant deity. He was considered the creator of the world and the keeper of divine order. Ra's daily journey across the sky represented the constant renewal of life and the ongoing battle between light and darkness, order and chaos. Osiris, the god of the afterlife and resurrection, represented the idea that death wasn't the end. It was part of the greater cycle of life. Osiris's death and resurrection symbolized the hope of renewal, both in the afterlife and in the natural world. He was the god who judged the souls of the deceased, ensuring they had lived according to Maat. Isis, Osiris's wife, was the goddess of healing, magic, and motherhood. She was revered for her wisdom and her power to protect both the living and the dead. She embodied the idea that nurturing and protecting life was sacred, a role that was essential for maintaining balance in the world. Horus, the son of Osiris and Isis, was the god of the sky and kingship. He represented divine rule and protection. As the protector of the pharaohs, he ensured that the rulers remained aligned with Maat, guiding them in their spiritual duties. Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and knowledge, played a critical role in preserving the truth. He was the keeper of records and the one who helped maintain the divine balance through his intellect and wisdom. Thoth was associated with the judgment of the soul and the recording of deeds during the afterlife process. Maat in Egyptian society. Maat was not just an abstract idea, it was a law, a system, a way of life. The pharaohs were seen as the physical embodiment of Maat, responsible for maintaining order not only in their personal lives but in society as a whole. If the pharaoh failed to rule justly or strayed from the principles of Maat, it was believed that the entire country would fall into chaos. The role of the pharaoh was to ensure that both the physical world and the spiritual world were aligned with Maat. This meant maintaining peace and harmony in society, protecting the land from foreign threats, and upholding justice. But the pharaoh's responsibility was also spiritual, to ensure that the gods were honored, that the temples were maintained, and that the rituals of life and death were carried out correctly. The people, too, were expected to live by the principles of Maat. Whether it was how they treated each other, how they managed their homes, or how they contributed to their community, everything was viewed through the lens of Maat. It was a holistic system that guided both the grand and the everyday aspects of Egyptian life. So why does this matter today? The principles of Maat, truth, justice, balance, are just as relevant now as they were in ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians understood that maintaining cosmic order was not only the responsibility of the gods, but of every person. They believed that living in harmony with Maat led to a more just, peaceful, and balanced life. As we look at the world today, we can find ways to apply the wisdom of Maat to our own lives. Whether it's in how we interact with others, how we approach social justice, or how we find balance in our personal lives, the ancient Egyptian understanding of Maat offers timeless guidance. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you think the concept of Maat can be applied in your life today? Do you see any areas where balance and justice are needed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going.